The gentle invitation of flickering light. Come closer now, and let me tell you about a place I know, a place we can both settle into for a while. Have you ever felt that relentless spinning in your mind, that insistent, demanding noise, like too many beautiful clocks ticking all at once, refusing to synchronize? If you have, then perhaps this gentle space I found, this silent room, is also waiting for you. Imagine stepping over a threshold and immediately the air changes. This is just harsh, electric light of the outside world, the light that insists you must be doing something, striving, achieving. That light is instantly left behind. You step into a profound, golden velvet dark. And in this dark, there is only one source of illumination, the soft language of candle flames. Can you feel the shift in the air pressure as you enter? It's almost audible, a sigh of relief breathed out by the old wooden beams. The scroll room doesn't judge the thoughts you bring with you. Oh, it merely invites you to set them down at the door, like heavy shoes after a long, hurried journey. The light here isn't sharp. It doesn't dissect or analyze. It is just a rhythmic, amber pulse, a heartbeat of light, illuminating only what is essential: a chair, a desk, and the quiet dignity of the old bound papers. Look around you. Each little flame in its holder, ceramic, copper, or perhaps just settled onto a plate of cool stone, is a tiny, dedicated performer, dancing its slow, ancient waltz. They are not striving for height or brilliance. They are perfectly content just to be fire. And as their light gently pushes back the absolute dark, it paints the room in the warmest shades: rust on the leather, liquid gold on the edge of the polished mahogany, and soft, shifting shadow shapes on the high ceiling. And what do these shadows say to your busy mind? They whisper secrets of non-permanence. They remind the overthinking self that everything moves, everything changes, even the light itself. See how the shadow of your hand on the wall seems to breathe, to expand and contract, simply because the candle flickers? Your worries, the heavy ones you carried in, they are like those shadows. They feel so solid, so real, but their shape depends entirely on the restless, tiny fire of your attention. Now, gently, take the deep warmth of this light into your own chest. Feel its non-demanding presence. It asks nothing of you tonight, but to be still. It doesn't ask you to solve the unsolvable problem or to untangle the thread of tomorrow's anxieties. It merely wraps you in an old, comforting blanket woven from warmth, silence, and the knowledge that some things are beautiful precisely because they are fragile and fleeting. Perhaps your thoughts are like moths tonight, flying frantically toward the brightest, most critical light. This room, this soft, non-committal glow, is too gentle for them to truly latch onto. It allows them to flutter down, exhausted and satisfied, onto the cool stone floor, resting until morning. And that, dear one, is the gentle invitation of this flickering light. A profound, quiet permission to simply stop spinning. Can you feel the slowing now? The deep, heavy stillness settling in your bones. This is your refuge, the sound of quiet dust, settling. You are settled now, aren't you? The flicker has done its soft work, easing the sharp edges of your day. Now, let's listen closely. In a world saturated with noise, the high-pitched hum of technology, the distant rush of traffic, the constant internal monologue, we rarely get to hear what true deep silence sounds like. It's tempting to think of silence as an absence, a blank space. But this room, this scroll room, teaches us that silence is a very rich and complex sound indeed. It is not empty. It is full of the echo of time. If you quiet your own immediate listening past the sound of your soft exhale, you begin to perceive the room's internal rhythm. Can you hear the sound of the deep dark? It's a low, subtle resonance, like the memory of a bell ringing centuries ago, still faintly vibrating in the heavy wooden beams. But the most soothing sound of all, the sound that truly signifies peace, is the sound of the dust settling. Imagine the invisible particles of the day, the mental debris, the forgotten tasks, the half-finished arguments, all slowly, gently descending. They are tired of being airborne, tired of rushing and colliding. They are just seeking rest. And as they find the cool, still surface of the antique table, they make the faintest, almost imaginary sound. It's the sound of surrender. It's the sound your own thoughts make when they finally decide they don't have to fly around the ceiling anymore. They are finding their shelf, their designated place of rest, until the sun demands they rise again. Listen carefully. It's quieter than a whisper. It is the sound of time folding in on itself. Perhaps you hear the slightest tick, not of a clock, but of a tiny crack in the wooden floor expanding or contracting with the drop in temperature. That is the sound of the structure of the room, and perhaps the structure of your own inner self, holding steady, enduring, refusing to rush. And what about the scrolls themselves? Even they contribute to this quiet symphony. The paper, dried and brittle with age, sometimes sighs. It's a papery, breathy rustle, a minuscule shh, as one parchment perhaps shifts 0.5 millimeter in its stack. It's a sound that says, I hold so many words, so many stories, so many worries from the past, and yet right now, I am utterly still. This sound, the quiet dust, the breathing wood, the sighing paper, is incredibly powerful for the overthinking mind because it is unintentional. Nothing in this room is trying to communicate, trying to sell you something, or trying to convince you of a crisis. It is simply existing in a state of profound, peaceful inertia. Let that inertia, that deep, heavy stillness, flow into the centers of your own restless energy. Allow the sound of the settling dust to be the soundtrack to your own mental slowing. With every slight, nearly silent sound, feel a tension ease, an argument dissolve, a pressure release. The world outside is chaotic, but right here, right now, the only sound is the sound of everything finding its gentle place. Just rest in the quiet fullness of this moment, the texture of time on aged paper. Now that the quiet has deepened and your inner noise is starting to harmonize with the sound of the dust settling, let's turn our attention to the heart of this sacred space, the scrolls themselves. They rest on the table beside you, piled in soft, uneven stacks, each one a compressed whisper of history. Close your eyes for a moment and just imagine them. What does the passage of time truly feel like? It doesn't feel fast or frantic, like a calendar flipping rapidly. Here, time feels textural. Reach out and let your hand drift over the edge of one of the scrolls. Feel the coolness of the aged paper against your skin. It has a dry, almost velvety quality. Quite unlike the sharp, slick surface of modern printouts, this paper has absorbed sun, shadow, humidity, and the gentle friction of countless hands that came before ours. It is thin, perhaps, yet heavy with the weight of its own existence. And then there is the scent. Can you inhale that gentle, irreplaceable fragrance? It's not perfume, not floral or bright. It is the deep, comforting aroma of vanillin. The compound released as cellulose slowly breaks down over centuries. It smells of quiet permanence, of libraries left undisturbed, of the sweet, subtle decay that makes way for beauty. It smells like a slow, certain exhale. What these textures and smells remind your overthinking mind of is perspective. The scrolls are not filled with fresh, urgent anxieties. They are filled with resolved histories. They contain problems that once felt insurmountable to the person who wrote them. Wars, loves, debts, discoveries, all now resting utterly complete on the page. They are lessons in finality. Gently unroll a corner of a scroll, just enough to catch the script in the soft candlelight. Do you see the slight fading of the ink? The color isn't aggressive black. It's a soft, rich sepia, bled a little into the fibers of the paper. This ink, once wet and vital, detailing a moment of great urgency, is now still. It proves that the fierce, insistent energy of any given moment will always, eventually, mellow into quiet history. It is deeply reassuring, isn't it, to hold something so old? It grounds the spinning present moment. Whatever challenge your mind is worrying over right now, the argument you can't replay enough times, the future you can't successfully plan, these scrolls whisper, I have held storms and worries far fiercer than this, and I am still here, undisturbed, still resting. The slight roughness of the paper is the texture of human imperfection. The edges are often torn or softened by use. The lines of script aren't perfectly straight. They drift gently across the page, just as our own intentions drift. There is no urgency in this texture, only the beautiful, accepting permanence of the past. Let the weight of the scroll in your lap become an anchor. It doesn't weigh much, but it carries the gravitational pull of centuries. Feel its presence, let its quiet endurance transfer into your own bones, reminding you that all of the frantic energy we expend in overthinking is just temporary ink on a scroll that will eventually find its restful place in the stack. Breathe in the sweet scent of time and let the gentle weight of history settle and calm your quickening heart. The anchor of slow, steady breathing. The scrolls have offered their gentle history, the candles their soft light. Now let us turn our attention inward to the only sound in this room that truly matters for the next few moments, the quiet sound of your own life moving. The atmosphere here is so still, so heavy with calm, that it highlights the subtle motions within your own body. Do you feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest? That is your most ancient, most reliable anchor. When the mind is overthinking, racing far ahead into the future, or desperately trying to rewrite the past, the body often follows with shallow, hurried breaths. But here, in this quiet, candlelit chamber, we give ourselves permission to slow that rhythm. Begin to listen to your breath as if it were the most precious, soothing sound in the entire room, quieter even than the settling dust. Inhale gently, drawing the cool, clean air deep down, allowing the lower ribs to expand slightly. Don't force it, just allow the air to drift in like a slow river, current finding its way. And then the exhale. This is the truly important part for the anxious mind. Let the air flow out slowly, completely, without holding on to the last bit. Imagine that you are breathing out the faint, smoky remains of all those scattered thoughts. Hush, let them go. The exhalation is your body's natural mechanism for releasing tension and finding peace. See the act of breathing, not as a necessity, but as a deliberate choice to be present. The candle flame, right beside you, demonstrates the perfect rhythm. It consumes what it needs, the oxygen, the wax, with quiet efficiency, and then it releases the faint smoke and the steady light. Your breath is the same, taking in what you need for this moment and releasing everything you no longer require. Do you ever notice how the frantic, overthinking self always lives in two places? The what if of the future and the if only of the past. It rarely chooses to settle in the right now. But your breath, that simple rhythmic sound, is exclusively a gift of the present. You can only inhale this breath right here, right now. Let the inhale be a soft, quiet embrace of the current moment. Inhale peace, and let the exhale be the letting go of the need to control or understand everything. Exhale surrender. If a thought swims into your focus, an urgent worry, a recurring script, don't fight it or follow it. Simply acknowledge it gently, as if it were a guest passing by the window. Say, "Ah, I see you, worry," and then without dwelling, return your full, soft focus to the sound of your own exhale. The breath is the master conductor in this quiet orchestra of your inner self. There is deep, profound safety in this rhythm. It doesn't require performance or solution. It requires only fidelity, a promise to stay with the gentle, slow, steady movement of the air. Let the breath deepen and slow, matching the deliberate stillness of the candlelit scrolls around you. This is all you need to do right now. Just breathe and anchor yourself to this quiet, calming sound. The overthinker's gentle confession to the fire. Your breathing is slow now, a low, steady drumbeat beneath the quiet of the scroll room. The mind, however, often holds on to its secrets, the stray, insistent thoughts that refuse to settle. We call this overthinking, but perhaps tonight we can view it simply as a busy mind needing a quiet place to speak. This room offers a perfect, non-judgmental listener, the candle fire. Look again at the small, dedicated flame nearest you. It is a tiny, active furnace, consuming darkness and worry, transforming matter into light and warmth. This is the keeper of secrets, because fire never repeats what it hears. It simply transforms the energy it is given. The impulse to overthink is often the mind's desperate need to confess a fear, to rehearse a potential disaster, or to analyze a past mistake, hoping that by saying it enough times it will finally yield a solution. But tonight we will offer these thoughts not to the weary, spinning self, but directly to the warmth and silence of the flame. I invite you to try something gentle. As you exhale slowly, identify one small, nagging thought that is demanding your attention right now. Don't chase the whole network of worry, just catch one thread. Perhaps it's a detail you forgot, or a word you wish you hadn't said. Now, without judgment, imagine taking that thought, that specific worry, and gently placing it like a tiny, dry leaf right into the heart of the candle flame. You don't need to speak it out loud. The fire understands the language of intention. Feel the thought leave your focus. As the imagined leaf of worry touches the flame, there is a quick momentary flash of heat, and then it is gone. Not solved, not fixed, but simply transformed into light. The fire doesn't argue with the leaf. It simply accepts it and turns it into energy. This practice is the gentle confession. You are acknowledging the thought's existence, giving it dignity, and then releasing it from the heavy burden of having to define you or control your immediate moment. If your mind is insisting that you must hold on to the thought to solve it, remind yourself, I am safe here, I am warm, I am breathing. This thought does not need to be solved tonight. It can rest with the fire. Think of all the energy you spend spinning these thoughts. When you surrender them to the flame, you are not losing that energy, you are reclaiming it. You are trading the frantic, circular motion of anxiety for the steady, upward pull of light and warmth. The flame does not demand perfection or a coherent narrative. It accepts scatter, chaos, and doubt. It asks only for the gentle, non-aggressive offering of whatever is weighing down your heart. The candle is your quiet confessor, your warm witness. Let the glow wash over your face. Now, feel the warmth penetrating your skin. This is the energy returned to you, the peaceful, steady light that remains when the overthinking has been quietly, gently burned away. You are lighter now. You are ready to rest. Tracing the unfinished lines of old maps. Now, with the mind feeling a little lighter, let's explore a very special kind of scroll resting near you, an ancient hand-drawn map. Unlike the completed histories, this map holds a profound lesson specifically for the overthinking self, the part of us that desperately needs to plan every mile of the journey ahead. Gently unroll this parchment. The paper might be thick, almost like linen, smelling faintly of ocean salt or mountain herbs, depending on the land it depicts. Look at the lines. They are not the clean, machine-drawn certainties of a modern GPS. These lines are human, slightly wavering, sometimes faded, occasionally correcting an error with a hasty smudge. But the most significant feature of this map is its incompletion. Notice how the known coastlines are drawn in meticulous detail, perhaps adorned with tiny, recognizable illustrations of harbors and forests. But as your eye drifts toward the edges, the lines begin to dissolve. The script becomes tentative. The areas marked terra incognita, unknown land, are often filled with whimsical drawings of dragons, sea serpents, or merely delicate clouds. This map is a gentle mirror for your life right now. When we overthink, we are trying to draw the entire map of our future in precise, unbroken ink. We feel a profound anxiety about those terra incognita areas, those unknowns of next week, next month, or next year. But the old cartographer here was wise. He knew that the map is not the journey. He knew that trying to draw the entire thing before stepping outside the door is futile, perhaps even arrogant. The true work of living happens in the discovery, in the quiet, unexpected moments that can never be charted ahead of time. Run your finger slowly over the faint lines where the certainty ends and the unknown begins. Feel the boundary. There is no need to rush into that blank space tonight. The mapmaker left it empty not out of fear, but out of respect for the mystery. It is a space for potential, not for panic. And think of the tiny, exquisite ship drawn just setting sail from the harbor. It's small, vulnerable, yet utterly committed. The map doesn't show the ship struggling in the storm. It simply shows the ship moving, focused on the immediate drawn coastline, trusting that the wind and the stars will guide it through the unmapped territories. This is the freedom we can grant ourselves now. The deep desire to control the future is really just the fear of the unknown. But the map gently reminds us, the unknown is a necessary, beautiful part of the design. It's the space where growth surprises you, where unplanned beauty blooms. Allow the overthinking, planning, voice to quiet down, knowing that it's acceptable, even necessary, for some parts of your inner map to remain empty tonight. You are not required to fill in the dragons and the deep oceans with certainties before you close your eyes. Rest in the wisdom of the incomplete map. You have charted enough for now. The journey will reveal itself, line by gentle line, when the morning light falls upon it. For now, the unknown is a peaceful, blank page, waiting patiently for dawn. The comfort of shared human imperfection, anonymous writings. We have quieted the demands of the mind and accepted the limits of planning. Now, let's look even closer at the scrolls. Not at the grand narratives of kings or battles, but at the subtle, overlooked details that whisper the deepest human truth. You are not alone in your struggle. Take one of the more frequently used scrolls, perhaps a text on philosophy or poetry, and hold it carefully under the warm, shifting candle glow. The main text is important, of course, but look specifically at the margins. It is in the margins that the true, anonymous history of human overthinking and curiosity resides. Do you see the faint, rushed scribbles in an unfamiliar hand? Someone, a reader centuries ago, paused right where you are pausing now. They were perhaps reading a complex idea and felt the urgent need to write a small, exasperated note to themselves. Wait, what does this mean? Or disagree. There might be a tiny, almost invisible drawing, a fleeting doodle, a flower, a face, scribbled during a moment when the mind drifted, momentarily losing focus on the serious text. Maybe the person reading was tired, perhaps overthinking their own day, and this small mark was the silent physical release of that inner tension. These margin notes, these small human imperfections, are a profound source of comfort. They are anonymous, unguarded confessions of intellectual struggle, fatigue, doubt, and wandering. Attention. They tell you that the fundamental texture of the human experience, the tendency to worry, to question, to get distracted, is timeless and universal. When the voice of overthinking tells you that your worries are unique, overwhelming, or a sign of failure, let these anonymous writings be the counter-argument. The person who wrote that small, messy notation likely went to bed that night feeling exactly as you do, a little too full of unanswered questions, a little too conscious of their own restless mind. And yet their life continued, their notes survived. This room, filled with scrolls created and consumed by thousands of quiet people, is a gentle museum of shared imperfection. It reminds us that no scroll is ever read perfectly, no idea is ever grasped completely, and no heart is ever perfectly still. We are all messy thinkers, drawing faint circles in the margins of our own lives. Feel the deep emotional relief that comes with this realization. Your specific worries tonight, they are merely variations on ancient themes. They are the same questions, the same anxieties about survival and belonging that prompted a weary scholar centuries ago to draw a small, imperfect circle in the margin right here. Allow this sense of shared humanity to soften the edges of your self-criticism. The scrolls are not perfect. They are smudged, they are corrected, they are annotated by doubt. And yet, they are beautiful and they endure. You are human, you are imperfect, and in this shared, time-worn, candlelit space that is perfectly, profoundly peaceful, rest in that shared comfort. The final closing of the inkwell lid. We have traveled far tonight, from the sharp noise of the outside world into this deep, quiet refuge. You have listened to the flickering light, the settling dust, and the slow, steady rhythm of your own breath. You have given your worries to the fire and accepted the beautiful imperfection of the unfinished map. It is time now to complete the gesture of rest, to perform the final symbolic act that closes the door on the day's overthinking. Imagine, just off to the side of the candle, a heavy ceramic or polished brass inkwell. Perhaps it has a hinged lid, or maybe a stopper crafted from smooth stone. Throughout the day, your mind is like an open inkwell, ready to dip into, ready to write the next sentence, ready to analyze, plan, and scatter thoughts across the page of your awareness. But now the work is done. The writing must cease. The pen is laid down. Listen for the soft, quiet, decisive sound of the lid closing. It's a gentle clunk or a soft, dull thud, a sound that signifies completion, not constraint. It is the sound of telling your busy mind, the scribbling session is over for tonight. The thoughts that were so urgent, so messy, so insistent on being written down are now simply sealed away until the morning light calls for the inkwell to be reopened. There is deep peace in this sound of closure. When the lid is shut, the ink cannot dry out, but neither can it spill. The thoughts, the plans, the worries, the ideas are preserved, safe and entirely dormant. They don't need to be attended to, reviewed, or defended in the dark. Feel the weight of that action settling over you. The mental energy that was dedicated to keeping the ink flowing is now released. You are no longer on duty as the writer, the editor, or the self-critic. You are simply the quiet resident of this cozy, candlelit room. This is the ultimate surrender to the moment. You are not forgetting your responsibilities. You are simply giving them a dedicated, restful space for the night. Everything that matters, the lessons from the scrolls, the wisdom of the old map, the soft comfort of the fire, remains with you, but the pressure to act upon them vanishes. The only things left in the room are the gentle scent of old paper, the rhythmic flicker of the flame, and the heavy, profound silence. Look one last time at the room. Notice the deep shadows pooling in the corners, holding the night's peace. They are not threatening. They are soft blankets of deep quiet, waiting to wrap around you. Take one final, slow, deep breath, feeling the air settle right down to the quiet space behind your ribs. And on the exhale, imagine your eyes closing gently, silently, mirroring the quiet closure of the inkwell lid. The room is still. The scrolls are sleeping, the thoughts are sealed, and you, dear one, are ready to drift into your own deep, gentle rest. Good night.